Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, July 20th. Welcome to 3 News Now. I'm Stephanie Haney. This is where we give you your top headlines from WKYC.com and our WKYC app. I appreciate you being here today. There are a lot of things to cover today. We have some updates over the weekend on how we're looking with COVID-19, what's happening in terms of a possible statewide mask mandate, some businesses getting in trouble, and some news on the Republican who might be speaking at the Democratic National Convention related to Ohio here. Also an update on Kanye West's presidential run and a shout out from a man who holds Ohio very near and dear to his heart on the national stage. So we'll get into all of that for you. And we will start first up with the fact that Governor Mike DeWine is not messing around when it comes to enforcing that mask mandate in counties that are at that level 3 red alert. There were multiple Ohio businesses over the weekend cited for violating state COVID-19 health orders. That includes at least 3 businesses in Cleveland. Some of the companies that were cited include the parent company of Dante's Inferno and Backyard Bocce in Cleveland, here in the Flats. They said that on Friday, July 17th, according to an administrative citation, there were people congregating and playing games with no social distancing measures in place. That's according to that report. Also, the parent company of Forward Nightclub, also in the Flats, had an administrative citation for improper conduct and disorderly conduct. This comes from Saturday, July 18th. That report said that officials saw the dance club with several hundred people standing, congregating, and dancing without any distancing measures in place. These citations were issued by the Ohio Investigative Unit, of course, in collaboration with local law enforcement agencies, and we are now starting to see the first instances of people actually being held to account for not following those mask mandates. There is a new study out that says Ohio is among the least cooperative states regarding masks. This is a study from a company called Survival at Home. So Ohio ranks 9th least cooperative in the U.S. for wearing masks. So that means we're more cooperative than 8 states, but we are less cooperative than 41 states, which is not a good look. So the least cooperative state is Arizona, followed by Nevada, then Florida, which has seen record case numbers of COVID-19, record numbers of deaths related to COVID-19, followed by Idaho, then Maine, then Missouri, then Wyoming, then South Carolina, then Ohio at number 9, and rounding out the top 10 least cooperative states is Montana at number 10. So they came up with this ranking by looking at more than 150,000 geotagged tweets with hashtags including no mask, burn your mask, and I will not comply. Now, medical health experts do say that wearing a mask is what we need to do to stop the spread of COVID-19. There are lots of people who are advocates of wearing masks, and here in Ohio, in 19 counties, it's required because 19 counties are under a level 3 red alert, according to Governor Mike DeWine's new system that assesses our COVID-19 risk here in Ohio. That's about 60% of the state, by the way. So on Sunday, on Meet the Press with Chuck Todd, he discussed that a possible statewide mandate might be coming our way. This is after Chuck Todd asked him on Sunday if it would be easier for people to follow the mask requirements if there was just a statewide order instead of this being implemented on a county-by-county basis. Here's what DeWine said. We're going the wrong way. We're at a crucial time. And so this week you may see a lot more counties under that mask requirement. So we certainly would not rule out going statewide. We're certainly looking at that, but there's a lot of things going on. DeWine also said that there will be more orders. He didn't necessarily elaborate on what kind of orders, but there will be more orders announced this week. And he was talking about a phone call that he had with health department officials about where new cases are emerging, and he said it's occurring in bars. He also said it's occurring in churches, and he said it's occurring from people who have traveled out of the state of Ohio. Here's a quote from him. But a lot of it, frankly, is just people in casual settings. 20, 30, 40, 50 people gathering together. So it's not all about orders. Orders are important, but it's also about getting people to understand this is very, very serious when talking about COVID-19. So let's take a look at exactly where we stand now in terms of COVID-19 cases and deaths and hospitalizations and ICU admissions here in the state of Ohio. These are based on the numbers that the Ohio Department of Health released yesterday on Sunday. We have almost 75,000 known cases related to COVID-19 now here in the state of Ohio. Now that number is dating all the way back to March 9th when we first learned about COVID-19 being here in Ohio. Yesterday, we saw 1,110 new COVID-19 cases reported. Now that is the lowest number that we've seen of new cases in the past 12 days. But it's still a high number. We went through a long stretch where we were nowhere near the thousands. We were seeing cases in the 300s and 400s on a daily reported basis. Now, as of yesterday, the latest number of new reported cases is 1,110. The Ohio Department of Health is now also reporting presumed recovered cases, which is not a definite number, but this is their presumption based on people who have been in the hospital and been released from the hospital. They're now guessing that there are 51,068 presumed recovered people from COVID-19. So that means that about 68% of the people who we have known to have COVID-19 in the state of Ohio have recovered. That also means that 32% of the cases of COVID-19 are active right now. Our latest positivity rate is 6.8%. Now, people talk about the number of new daily reported cases going up, and they guess it's because we've been doing more testing, and we have been doing more testing here in the state of Ohio, but that positivity rate has gone up. So of all the tests that are being done, 6.8% are coming back positive. Now, that is above the World Health Organization's recommended threshold of 5%. And our 7-day rolling average for a positivity rate here in Ohio is at 6.3%. The total number of deaths related to COVID-19 is now 3,174. Yesterday, we saw a high number of new reported deaths. On Sunday, there were 42 new reported deaths related to COVID-19. There were also 42 new hospitalizations reported on Sunday related to COVID-19, bringing that total, dating all the way back to March 9th, to now 9,555 people who have been hospitalized related to coronavirus. As of yesterday, there are 1,065 people who are currently hospitalized related to COVID-19. That's 11.1% of all cases that have been hospitalized are now currently actively in the hospital. There are now 318 people who are actively in the intensive care unit. That's about 30% of everyone in the hospital. So about 30% right now of people hospitalized, 30% of those people are in the intensive care unit. Yesterday, we saw 4 new ICU admissions, which brings that total dating back to March 9th to now 2,315. Looking at the political stage, former Ohio Governor John Kasich is expected to speak at the Democratic National Convention. Now, he is a Republican. He has served in office as a Republican. He continues to identify as a Republican, but is also one of President Donald Trump's harshest critics. And he is now expected to speak at the Democratic National Convention next month in support of the presumptive Democratic nominee for President Joe Biden, former Vice President Joe Biden. Now, if you remember, Kasich went head-to-head with President Donald Trump in 2016 trying to secure the Republican presidential nomination, but he did not succeed, obviously. President Donald Trump is now the president. But after suspending his campaign in 2016, he refused to support President Donald Trump. He called him divisive, and he also refused to attend the Republican convention that was in Cleveland in 2016. Now, of course, as we know, Trump went on to win Ohio by 8 points and became president of the United States. And at that point, Kasich did wish him well, but said that he would continue to criticize him when necessary. He was also in favor of the effort to impeach President Donald Trump, which happened in the House of Representatives. And then, of course, that trial occurred in the Senate where Donald Trump was acquitted of those charges that he was impeached of in the House. But now, Kasich is taking that criticism apparently one step further and will speak in favor of former Vice President Joe Biden at the Democratic National Convention, which is surprising to some, given the fact that he does, again, still align with the Republican Party. Now, the DNC right now is scheduled for August 17th through the 20th. It'll be based in Milwaukee, but largely a virtual event. The Republican National Convention is currently scheduled for August 24th through the 27th. It was supposed to take place in Charlotte, North Carolina. President Donald Trump took issue with the fact that there would be some stipulations related to the size of the event. So at least a portion of that event, as of right now, is expected to occur in Jacksonville, Florida. In other presidential candidacy news, Kanye West is apparently still running for president. Now, last week, the Daily Mail reported that a staffer said that he was actually suspending his campaign after hiring 200 people to try to get him on the ballot. But now he is officially on the ballot in at least Oklahoma, and he had a rally in South Carolina yesterday where he raised a lot of eyebrows. He criticized HARRIET TUBMAN at that rally in South Carolina. He talked about religion, he talked about abortion, he talked about licensing and foreign affairs. He raised a lot of eyebrows when he was talking about HARRIET TUBMAN. Now, she is a black woman who escaped slavery and then also helped black men and women who had been enslaved, traveled north to freedom in the Underground Railroad, and she fought for the Union during the Civil War. She was an advocate for the Union. Kanye West said that she never actually freed the slaves, she just had them work for other white people, and people in the audience did not take well to that comment. There were audible groans in the audience at that South Carolina rally. He also talked about abortion. He shared personal details about how he had wanted to end the pregnancy of his daughter that resulted in his daughter North with Kim Kardashian, and how his father wanted to end his mother's pregnancy with him, and how he is now pro-life. And he did also talk about how people who get pregnant need more support. He tossed out the fact that everyone who has a child should get $1 million, making that very bold statement. And now he is officially, federally, a presidential candidate because he filed a statement for candidacy with the Federal Elections Committee. He filed it under the BALLOT party, which is apparently a reference to the birthday party, which is the party he said he would run under in an interview with Forbes magazine that came out last week as an independent. Now, last week he qualified to appear on Oklahoma's presidential ballot. That's the first state where he met the requirements before the filing deadline. And there are still states where he can get on the ballot. That's why he had the rally yesterday in South Carolina. So he needed to collect 10,000 signatures by today, Monday, July 20th at noon, in order to get on the South Carolina ballot. He tweeted out yesterday a list of locations where petitions could be signed. So let's think about this strictly from a numbers standpoint. It is possible, there is a path for Kanye West to win the presidency, even not being on every state's ballot, because you need 270 electoral college votes in order to become president. Now, in the states where Kanye can still get on the ballot, there are 306 electoral college votes up for grabs. So we'll see what happens. That's going on with Kanye West. That's what's going on with Kanye West's bid for the presidency. One more piece of news for you. This crosses over. We'll say Kanye West's presidential run news crosses over between national politics and entertainment news. This is strictly entertainment news for you. Tom Hanks is giving a shout out to Lakewood. He did that last night on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. Colbert was asking Hanks about where he is spending his life in quarantine as the world continues to deal with COVID-19 coronavirus. Tom Hanks did not answer the question at all. This is what he said. He said, if you stick a pin in any town USA, say Lakewood, Ohio, and draw a 6-inch circle around it, I'm somewhere outside that 6-inch circle. So Tom Hanks is somewhere in the US outside of a 6-inch circle around a pin that you drop anywhere in the map. But he did shout out Lakewood, Ohio. Colbert said to him then, Lakewood, quality people there in Lakewood. I would have to agree, Colbert, you are right about that. And then Hanks said that it is, of course, home of the Great Lakes Shakespeare Festival, where he was an intern in 1977. And Tom Hanks has always spoken very well about his time in Ohio and has been a big Ohio supporter. There's something about Ohio. If you're from here, if you come here, if you spend any amount of time here, it just gets under your skin and it draws you back. I can speak from personal experience when it comes to that, having grown up in Canton, left for a while, spent some time in North Carolina, LA, New York, and now back here because Ohio just gets under your skin, and that is a good thing. That is it for our 3 News Now early update. Thanks for joining us here. We'll be back at 2 p.m. as soon as we get those updated numbers from the Ohio Department of Health. Everyone enjoy the rest of your morning. I'll see you back here shortly. I'm Stephanie Haney.